AMTD just rose 32,000%. Many mainstream media organizations are calling it a meme stock because it mirrors GameStop and AMC's rapid rise in the stock price. AMTD is a new stock. It recently listed itself on the New York Stock Exchange in July with the ticker symbol HKD, not to be confused with its parent company AMTD Idea Group, which has the ticker symbol AMTD. The stock which rose in price was AMTD Digital with the ticker symbol HKD, and not AMTD Idea Group, which has the ticker symbol AMTD. So what is AMTD anyway? AMTD was founded by one of Hong Kong's richest men, Shing, and the Australian Commonwealth Bank to provide financial services way back in 2003 before it went under Morgan Stanley's control until 2015. Then a man called Calvin Choi would take over in 2016 as the chairman and CEO of AMTD Group. AMTD stands for Add, Minus, Times and Divide. AMTD Digital company operations are based in Asia. Investors who participated in the AMTD IPO bought shares at $7.80 a piece. There was nothing special about this company. Sure, it was worth over $1 billion, but there are a lot of companies like that. AMTD was a fintech. It offers financial services, marketing, and is involved in media. Not many people knew about this stock. However, something remarkable would catapult this stock's presence to Wall Street bet stardom. A few weeks after AMTD's IPO, its shares went through the roof, doubling, tripling, 10xing. At one point, AMTD stock possibly rose up to $2,500 a share, a 32,000% rise in the stock. No one knows why AMTD Digital stock shot up so quickly, but it is not a meme stock. AMTD, the parent company which owns AMTD Digital, put up a statement telling everyone they had no idea what was going on, but they were grateful for investors who bought the stock and were not aware of any material circumstances, events, or other matters related to the business which changed since the IPO. AMTD Digital stock price, which rose from $7.80 a share to a high of $2,500 per share, was a ridiculous rise in the stock price. AMTD Digital stock went above and beyond what was considered reasonable. The rise from $7.80 a share to $2,500 within a few weeks was a 32,000% increase. This gave AMTD a market cap of $400 billion at its peak, an unreasonable valuation since AMTD Digital only makes a net profit of $24 million a year. Alibaba, China's largest company, only has a market cap of $250 billion. So on the 2nd of August, AMTD's market cap exceeded Alibaba's by almost $100 billion. AMTD was worth more than any one of the following companies: Alibaba, Coca-Cola, Bank of America, or McDonald's individually. Alone, all of AMTD Digital stock would add up to 4 Goldman Sachs. Many were shocked by the rise of AMTD Digital. The C.K. Hutchinson Group, the company of the billionaire which previously owned more of AMTD Group, the parent company of AMTD Digital, put up a statement saying they had nothing to do with the ridiculous rise of AMTD stock. The C.K. Hutchinson Group told reporters that it had sold most of its shares 10 years ago and had no representatives on the board of directors in AMTD and was in no way involved in any of its operations. They also said they were trying to sell off their remaining shares of AMTD, which accounted for less than 4% of the company. The CK Group is actively trying to distance itself from AMTD's controversial stock. AMTD Digital's momentum in the markets did not last. After reaching its all-time highs, AMTD Digital stock tumbled the next day, halving its value to $1,000 per share. Then by mid-August, it would fall to $190 per share. AMTD stock would inspire another Hong Kong company, Magic Empire Global, with the ticker symbol MEGL, to shoot up from an IPO price of $4 per share to $250 per share within a few days. The cause for Magic Empire Global's ridiculous rise in its stock price is still unknown. Wall Street bets had nothing to do with the epic rise and fall of AMTD stock. Wall Street bet degenerates woke up to AMTD's meteoric rise, sighed because of the missed opportunity, and went to Wendy's for the afternoon shift. Wall Street bets degenerates do not recognize AMTD as a meme stock, so when traditional financial media like CNBC jumped the gun and tried to claim AMTD Digital was the hot new meme stock in town with over 400 billion reasons to love it, and said GameStop was old news, the people at Wall Street bets shot back, disowning AMTD before it was ever inducted into the Wall Street Bets Hall of Fame. Everyone had missed the rocket ship, so no one cared if it went up higher than GameStop. It wasn't a meme stock because unlike AMC, GameStop or Bed Bath & Beyond, AMTD stock didn't even rely on a short squeeze to go from $7 to $2,500. AMTD Digital just IPO'd a while ago. There was no stock to short, no greedy market manipulating hedge funds shorting it to the ground, and no real investors banding together to screw the hedge funds over. Never. There was no make the short sellers at Wall Street buy back the shares and drive the stock back up so retail investors could profit. This wasn't a GameStop moment. This wasn't a Bed Bath & Beyond moment. Nor was it a Hertz play where some giant company was buying up the bankrupt stock. There was none of that. Personally, I think AMTD looks like a pump and dump. A lot of finance news sites are claiming that AMTD is similar to how GameStop reached its crazy highs. All other media are claiming AMTD Digital's rise was because of a coordinated retail investor strat. None of the words these experts in Wall Street are saying is true. Retail investors didn't do shit. Options for AMTD Digital were unavailable at the time. If options aren't an option, then Wall Street bets had nothing to do with it. These articles aren't journalism. They're shitpost. USA Today is shitposting. Bloomberg, Seeking Alpha, ABC News, Reuters, Forbes, Yahoo Finance, CBS News, and Financial Times have become shitposters. Thankfully, many reporters realized their mistake eventually. Some, like Citron Research, knew better and said AMTD Digital was not a meme stock, saying only 339,000 shares were traded at all, and AMTD Digital had not captured the imagination of retail traders like GameStop. Forbes magazine has also released an article saying Wall Street bets had nothing to do with AMTD Digital's ridiculous rise in stock price. Alongside with Forbes magazine, Investor Place, The Street, and USA Today have corrected their mistakes and openly acknowledged that Wall Street bets were not involved in AMTD Digital's stock price rally. So the degenerates at Wall Street bets can rest easy knowing that at least some of the mainstream media understand that AMTD isn't Wall Street bets' fault. Regardless of the confusing origins of AMTD Digital's rise, some degens are adding AMTD to their portfolio, but most degens at Wall Street bets don't know what the fuck is going on. The stock shot up by itself and no one knows why. The people on Twitter and other Reddit groups were caught by surprise. The only place that wasn't too shaken by the developments were stock tweets, and they didn't know what was going on either. So if retail investors were not the ones behind the AMTD rally, then who was responsible? One possible reason why AMTD Digital's stock price shot up was because of its low market cap. AMTD Digital only has 185 million shares, and out of those 185 million, only 20 million shares were floating around in the open market for retail investors. So the low float helped make the meteoric rise possible. Something odd was going on with AMTD Digital. According to Thomson Reuters charts, trading in AMTD was sporadic, and most of the transactions were one-share trades as the prices reached their peak. The one-share trades could mean anything. It could be algorithmic traders who are making small trades to discover the prices, or it could be a sign of broken orders during a liquidity crunch. It could be insiders trading shares with one another. Regardless of the origins of AMTD's rallies, some at Wall Street bets have taken positions in AMTD, so Wall Street bets members can look forward to the loss pawn AMTD bag holders are going to put out in a month. There might be some confusion among investors since AMTD has many public companies, including the AMTD Idea Group and AMTD Digital. AMTD Digital is actually owned through a web of companies by a man called Calvin Choi. Calvin Choi has a 100% owned company that owns 32% of AMTD Group, that in turn owns over 50% of AMTD Idea, which in turn owns around 88% of AMTD Digital shares. So what is AMTD Digital and what does it do? Apparently, it created a platform called AMTD SpiderNet. AMTD is calling this SpiderNet a metaverse ecosystem for fintech startups. It aims to provide funding through its access to investors and offers access to business executives, loans, services, and tech for startups in exchange for a fee. This is how AMTD Digital makes money. AMTD also has a partnership with the World Economic Forum and jointly owns a virtual bank it helped set up together with smartphone maker Xiaomi. Calvin Choi, the owner, chairman, and CEO of AMTD Group, previously worked at PwC, Citigroup, and UBS Bank. He was the one who started AMTD Idea, an investment bank which has underwritten many IPOs. Notably, the AMTD Idea Group was the underwriter for many giant companies like smartphone maker Xiaomi and China's leading food delivery company Meituan, the same company that Cathie Wood from ARK Invest sold at a loss. Underwriting for an IPO means the investment bank has to assess the risk of the startup or the company trying to do an IPO, make sure the company satisfies all regulatory requirements. Then the underwriter will do a roadshow to advertise the company to institutional investors and take any orders for the stock from them. Then the investment bank underwriter determines the right price for the IPO. The investment bank will then buy the stock stock issued by the startup or company trying to IPO and allocate the stock based on the orders by institutional investors before they sell the stock to the public. What's controversial about AMTD idea, which is in the underwriter business, is that according to Hindenburg research, almost 90% of companies using their services to IPO collapsed. AMTD and its owner, Calvin Choi, has a history of fraud allegations. AMTD Group was previously accused of misusing funds of China's Minsheng Investment Group. Minsheng Investment Group had entrusted AMTD Group with the management of a large amount of money. Minsheng Group had expected AMTD to manage their investments wisely. However, when 2019 rolled over and Minsheng Investment Group went through a debt crisis and tried to get their money back from AMTD to repay their debts, AMTD actually refused to do so for one whole year, so the Minsheng Investment Group hired groups of people to put out banners in front of AMTD's headquarters to accuse AMTD and its CEO Calvin Choi of stealing its investors' money, mainly Minsheng Investment Group's money. Minsheng Investment Bank currently has a lot of bad debt from one of China's major real estate developer, China Evergrande, which made headlines as it showed signs of collapse because it couldn't pay back the debts after failing to meet China's 3 red lines law. Without meeting the 3 red lines, Evergrande was not allowed to borrow more money to pay for its debt. Minsheng Group was Evergrande's largest lender, and right now it's attacking AMTD to get its money back to pay back its debts. Hong Kong is trying to ban Calvin Choi from all financial activities for 2 years as well for fraud allegations. Apparently, back in 2015, Choi had failed to reveal conflicts of interest while he was a managing director at UBS Bank. Calvin Choi was given the task of handling an IPO for Xinti Energy, an energy company. He failed to disclose that his parents were actually investors who invested in Xinti Energy Co. prior to its IPO. Hong Kong's rules do not stop investment bankers from working on IPOs of startups where the banker's family members are investors. It does not require a banker to report on these kinds of relationships. However, UBS Bank has its own compliance rules. This meant that Calvin Choi had to tell UBS Bank about his parents' involvement with the Xinti Energy Group, but he failed to do so. Failing to list the banker's private relationships to investors on the prospectus of a company that's about to IPO is misleading because it means investors aren't aware of the potential conflicts of interest. Calvin Choi has also done IPO projects where his parents were investors of while he was still working in AMTD Group. The CEO is now trying to appeal the ban by the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission to continue working in the finance industry. A cursory glance at AMTD's Glassdoor reviews show that employees hate the company. According to AMTD insiders on Glassdoor, the company has trouble hiring people because of their horrible reputation, and those who do get hired leave within a year or so and would have left earlier if it wasn't for the binding contract that AMTD made its employees sign at the beginning of their employment. Employees at AMTD say they can't trust promises made by the management and complained that they didn't get their bonuses. Even employees at AMTD who gave AMTD 5 stars on Glassdoor said the company was not clear about their job responsibilities and urged AMTD's management to care more about their employees. But hey, at least they have free ice cream. Currently, some Wall Street Bets investors are trying to buy the company with the AMTD's ticker symbol instead of HKD, not because they are confused about which company is which, but because AMTD Digital is owned by AMTD Idea Group, and this main AMTD Idea company holds 88% of AMTD Digital. If a company goes up in value, it makes sense to believe that the parent company's stock price would also go up. If we look at AMTD Idea's past stock price history, the stock did experience a spike, peaking at $7 per share around the 2nd of August, around the same time when AMTD Digital peaked at $2,500 per share, showing that the parent company's valuation did rise when the child company's stock price skyrocketed. But however, since then, AMTD Idea's stock took a nosedive, mirroring AMTD Digital's drop in prices. AMTD Idea's stock is now lower than it was before AMTD Digital's massive mysterious rally took place. So back holders of AMTD Idea's stock are in a rough spot if they held it through AMTD Digital's drop in stock price. Honestly, I wouldn't touch AMTD stock if I were you. There's just too many unknowns and red flags here. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and the things I've said isn't financial advice. Like and subscribe.